After ending February with a bang thanks to Monster Hunter Wilds, March is looking just as exciting, featuring what might be the most anticipated co-op game since It Takes Two, along with a variety of other fantastic titles that will leave you wishing you had Hermione's Time Turner, because there aren't enough hours in the day to play them all. So let's dive in. Are you ready for an adventure to the Sky Vale? Although it might sound like a romantic getaway, it's everything but that. This expedition is all about treasure, danger, and a whole lot of strategy. Releasing on March 4th for PC, Seekers of the Sky Vale invites you and your squad of 3 to experience a fresh new blend of MOBA and extraction gameplay. It is developed by a small team who had previously worked at Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, Ubisoft, and more. In the chaotic world of Sky Vale, plenty of riches await, but so do your rivaling seekers and fearsome creatures. Select your hero from an ever-growing roster of unique characters, each armed with special abilities to outsmart your foes. In this genre blend, you and your team should decide early on how to tackle each round. Will you sneak through the shadows and go for a stealthy treasure run, or storm into battle like the warrior class you didn't choose? The better your strategy, the bigger your loot pile. And if your pockets are filled, you better tread carefully on your way to the exit. There are 3 distinct maps to explore, all filled with randomized events and changing threats to adapt to. The longer you stay, the greater the risks, but also the potential for legendaries. Just remember, one strategy might always be your rivals camping right in front of the portal, just waiting to take it all from you in the last minute. Play with your friends in a fixed group, or use the Party Finder if your crew is out of town. It is launching into early access as a free-to-play live service title, potentially getting some monetized features and content further down the road. Once upon a time, there was the king and queen of 2-player co-op games. The highly praised, the untouchable, holder of Game of the Year 2021, breaker of records, seller of 20 million copies, His Majesty, It Takes Two. But this month, on March 6th, their throne might be taken by force, as the wait is finally over, and the next highly anticipated co-op action-adventure is arriving, Split Fiction. Behind Split Fiction is none other than Hazelight Studios themselves, the team that brought us co-op highlights like It Takes Two and A Way Out. Like those predecessors, Split Fiction is exclusively designed for 2 players and cannot be played solo or in larger groups. And again, there is a Friends Pass, which means if you buy 1 copy of Split Fiction, your co-op partner just has to download the free Friends Pass on their platform and can then join in, without owning a copy of their own, which costs around $50. This time, the Friends Pass allows crossplay, so you can invite your friend from any platform, including PC, PS5 and Xbox Series. Or you play together locally in couch co-op. Just be mindful that the game has been rated PEGI 16, due to some fantasy violence. In Split Fiction, players control the 2 aspiring writers Mio and Zoe in a split-screen adventure that again requires teamwork and coordination to overcome the various challenges. And, of course, the power of friendship. Mio and Zoe get trapped together in a simulation that steals their creative ideas. To break free and get back into reality with their minds and creativity intact, they have to traverse through the fictional worlds that they created. And for this, they will have to collaborate, which is not as easy as it sounds, as they start off as strangers and don't exactly get along very well at first. The realms that Mio and Zoe have to traverse intertwine the 2 writers' genres, sci-fi and fantasy. This results in varied gameplay that bounces back and forth between sci-fi and fantasy with each level. One moment, you will be wall running in a cyberpunk city, then race dragons from the X stage all the way until they're big enough to fly on, or fight armored robots with blasters. Each level will have their own distinct mechanics and rules, from platforming to hoverboard racing, problem solving, and various puzzles. It will never get boring for even a second. If you're tired of the same old hero shooters dropping every few months, don't skip away just yet. because this one might just have the twists and turns to stand out from the crowd. Launching on March 6th for PC, PS5 and Xbox Series with full crossplay support, Fragpunk is bringing a fresh spin to the genre. And if you're wondering why this one should be any different to the big roster of hero shooters out there, let us fill you in. At its core, Fragpunk blends familiar hero-based mechanics with an impressive layer of customization and unpredictability. At launch, you'll have 12 playable heroes to choose from, each equipped with 3 unique abilities. From there, you'll select your primary and secondary weapons from a pool of 17 different firearms, some of which come with their own special abilities. Throw in a melee weapon of your choice and you've already got a solid foundation. But that's just the beginning. The real game changer, shard cards. Before each round, you and your team will choose from a huge variety of these unique cards that completely shift the way battles play out. Ever struggled to land a headshot? What if your opponent's head suddenly became the largest part of their body? That's exactly what one of the shard cards does. The only way you'd miss that bobblehead is if you were too busy laughing while trying to aim. But the shard cards aren't just about fun. Some are downright devastating. Take the Reaper card, for example. Any enemy that drops below 50% health is instantly eliminated, along with any nearby teammates. With different rarity levels and a mix of hilarious and overpowered effects, every round becomes a chaotic, unpredictable brawl. Unlike other hero shooters that lean into long, drawn-out tactical matches, Fragpunk is built for speed. Each battle is a fast-paced 2.5-minute showdown, making it perfect for players who want quick action without long commitments. There are also different modes, from 1v1 shootouts to 5v5 matches with different objectives. Ranked or just for fun, there's something for everyone. We got our hands on the demo back in October during the Steam Next Fest, and it already felt incredibly polished. The visuals are bold and vibrant, the gunplay felt weighty and satisfying, and the movement was smooth. If there was one area that felt a bit lacking, it was map diversity. But given that it was just a demo, we're expecting a lot more variety on full release. That said, we are quite positive that with its fast-paced action, unique mechanics and full crossplay support, Fragpunk will deliver a fresh experience in the hero shooter genre, appealing to both veterans and newcomers alike. Have you ever asked yourself how creatures smaller or bigger than yourself perceive the world, or how a strong imagination and a different perspective influence your actions? In Myrmidon, you can find out as 2 players embark on a puzzle platforming adventure together. In this stop-motion inspired work of art, one player takes on the role of the animator, the other of the puppet. You will have to collaborate, solve puzzles and get timings right for actions and jumps, to allow the puppet to journey through little film sets. The animator moves more freely around the studio while having a broader perspective of the set. They assist their puppet by positioning poles for jumping, opening or closing small drawers, and placing jump pads on the walls. If the puppet falls, he helps him back up again to start over. Meanwhile, the player controlling the puppet sees the studio as a sort of film set, with decoration and more depth. A mere gap between drawers looks like a deep chasm for the puppet. It is coming to Steam on March 7th and exclusively features 2-player online co-op. There is currently a demo available on Steam, which you can try out if you're interested. While playing the demo, we loved the idea of those distinct roles and the teamwork needed to progress, but found it a bit unfortunate that the game does not offer split screen. Both puppet and animator have such distinct views on and around the game world. Hence, it would be interesting and helpful as well to see both sides at the same time. Nox and I are sitting next to each other while playing, so we can simply sneak a peek. But players in remote online co-op are missing out on their co-op partner's view and therefore their challenges as well. Also, there are no in-game communications, neither chat nor voice, but you will definitely need either one to coordinate. Myrmidon is the first work from French studio Popote. While its unique concept and art style make it stand out, it's also their debut game, so you can expect an indie game experience. Charming, but still indie at heart. Remember Bleach? No, not the stain remover, the manga. Hard to believe, but it came out 20 years ago. Sorry to remind you, we're all getting older. Whether you were a die-hard fan back in the day or just love anime-style fighting games, this one might be for you. Bleach Rebirth of Souls launches on March 20 for PlayStation, Xbox Series and PC, bringing a fresh take on the 3D fighting genre with a deeper, more tactical approach. Instead of mindlessly mashing buttons to chip away at your opponent's health bar, this game demands strategy and precision. Battles play out in dynamic one-on-one duels, where understanding the balance of attack, breaker and guard actions is key. Each character wields their own unique sword skills, letting you dictate the pace of combat and exploit your opponent's weaknesses. A single, well-timed strike can decide the outcome, making every move count. But the real twist? The more desperate your situation, the stronger you become. As fights escalate, you'll unlock new forms and abilities, turning near defeat into an opportunity for a comeback. Alongside intense combat, the game also dives deep into Bleach's rich story, starting with Ichigo Kurasaki's rise as a Soul Reaper, and leading up to his climactic battles. It doesn't just follow the main arc, but also explores the personal backstories of other key characters, letting you experience the defining moments that shape their fates. The game's single-player mode advances the story, while its multiplayer component focuses primarily on PvP battles, allowing players to compete against each other using a diverse roster of characters. Matches can be held online or in shared screen-local PvP. So it offers a balanced experience for both solo and competitive play. While anime-based fighters aren't for everyone, this one has some serious potential. It is developed by Tamsoft, a studio with a strong track record in the genre, most notably known for Melty Blood Type Lumina, and they've been making fighting games since the PlayStation 1 era. With its blend of strategic combat, high-stakes battles, and deep storytelling, Bleach Rebirth of Souls has the potential to stand out in the genre, living up to its legendary name. An endless swarm of bioengineered monstrosities. In the middle, you and 5 more members of Nightfall, the last bastion of humanity with one mission: survival at all cost. Sounds compelling? Then jump into Killing Floor 3 when it releases for PC, PS5 and Xbox Series on March 25. And if your friend's group plays on different platforms, don't worry. Full crossplay online co-op is supported right on launch. In the third part of the Killing Floor series, set in the year 2091, you are part of the rebel group Nightfall, humanity's last line of defense against Horsein. This sinister mega-corporation creates bioengineered monsters called Zeds. Players set out for missions on different maps, fulfill small objectives, and survive against up to 6 rounds of Zed waves. In true FPS manner, there is a range of firearms and melee weapons, as well as gadgets and traps and unique skills based on the character you choose to play. With an upgraded meat system, with meat for massive evisceration and trauma, Killing Floor 3 is delivering some next level gore if you're into that. Every slice of your weapon is severing a body part, and grenades will have the Zeds scatter all over the place, like lasagna left in the microwave. We got into the 4th closed beta in February and could check out the beta build of the game. We're no franchise veterans at all, so we can't compare KF3 to earlier titles of the series, but we still expected something different and wanted to share our thoughts. Take this with a grain of salt, as of course this was a beta and not the finished game, and the developer tweeted that many complaints of the community were already addressed in the final build. But still, maybe this helps you make a decision if you're still on the fence. The arenas were quite big, but very uninteresting and had little to nothing tactical to offer. No possibilities to barricade against the waves or use the environment in interesting ways. The objectives were either survive the wave, or go find a corpse and take a sample, then survive the next wave. The weapon feedback felt a bit off and unbalanced. Enemies would die by 1 or 2 slices of the combat knife, while some survived 2 rounds of bullets. And graphics-wise, even on high to ultra settings, Textures looked washed out or rough, and the zombie models moved more like lifeless crash test dummies, always choosing the same paths and reacting predictably. And for us, the lack of loot dropping in a FPS horde mode game made it feel really impactless. You're fighting to passively earn currency, then spend it all on replenishing your inventory. But besides that criticism, we're still hopeful that those aspects have already been addressed. Or will be in the future, as there is a passionate Killing Floor community and a dev team that seems willing to listen and communicate. So let's see how the game performs on launch. Did you know that the little green army men rose to popularity in the 1950s as a safer alternative to toy soldiers made from lead? These inexpensive plastic figures fueled kids' imagination, staging epic battles in sandboxes, living rooms, and backyards, sometimes with a little help from firecrackers, leaving behind only twisted, melted plastic remnants. If you remember those little green army men yourself, your childhood must have been awesome. Also, you will be pleased to know that Mini Royale brings that classic playtime chaos to the digital battlefield. Launching on March 27 on PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store, Mini Royale is far more than just a standard shooter with a fresh coat of green paint. The game takes the childhood fantasy of toy soldier warfare and turns it into an all-out, action-packed battle royale where up to 50 players battle it out for victory. But this warzone isn't some grim battlefield. It's a massive kid's bedroom filled with obstacles, hiding spots, and all the fun chaos you'd expect from a world built for toys. Take cover behind stacks of books, swing from curtain rods like an action hero, or zip across the room with a trusty grapple gun. Every piece of furniture, every scattered toy, and every oversized household object becomes part of your strategy. The bedroom may appear cozy, but in Mini Royale, it transforms into a war zone where only the toughest plastic toys will emerge victorious. You can hop into solo mode and prove yourself as the best of the best. Prefer strength in numbers? Grab a friend for duos or roll in with a full squad, because teamwork can be the difference between victory and watching your plastic remains get swept under the bed. And if one of your teammates falls in battle, no worries, there are ways to bring them back into the fight. In Mini Royale, it's not just about shooting, it's about strategy. The game features a unique perk system that lets you tailor your playstyle to suit your strengths. Want to take less damage, sprint faster, hurl grenades with pinpoint accuracy? With over 20 perks to choose from, you can build a soldier that fits your tactics. And as you level them up, new bonus abilities unlock to give you an even greater edge. So, whether you're a Battle Royale expert, craving a dose of nostalgia, or simply seek something new and entertaining, Mini Royale is set to immerse you in the most chaotic, action-packed bedroom brawl you have ever experienced. Do you have some fond memories of the 2000s Castlevania games for Nintendo 3DS as well? No? Just us? Okay, well, then let Grandma tell you something about how a new release this year takes her back into the good old times of 2D Metroidvania platformers. In Gal Guardians Servants of the Dark, you control Kirika and Masha, powerful demon siblings fighting to find their demon lord master and restore him to power. But there's a catch. You will have to cross the entire demon realm on your quest, fighting against and alongside other demons, as well as against human demon hunters. Explore the good old hidden passages of Metroidvania games, fight off enemies with countless combos, collect items from their corpses and chests, and unlock new sub-weapons and abilities for the sisters. There are passive enhancements, a gathering system, and more. You can play solo or in 2-player local co-op with a friend. You can choose your character based on your playstyle, or swap. Kirika is a ranged fighter with a demonic gun, while her younger sister, Masha, gets up close in melee with her whip. And should one of them be defeated, the other can bring her back to life. And if it gets too difficult, you can lower the difficulty at any time. This title is a sequel to Gal Guardians Demon Purge, which was very well received. If you enjoy some good old Metroidvania action, cute demon maids, and pixel art mixed with anime cutscenes, this one is for you. It is coming to PC, PS4 and 5, Switch and the Xboxes on March 27. This month, we have one honorable mention that we felt should not be part of the main releases rotation, but still not to be forgotten. Chernobylite 2: Exclusion Zone. It is coming into early access on March 6th on Steam. The release on PS5 and Xbox Series is planned for later this year, but we couldn't confirm a release date yet. But why is this game only an honorable mention, you ask? Well, it's because while we were playing the demo, which is available now on Steam, we found out that the co-op is not yet implemented in a way that will please every type of player who is interested mainly in multiplayer games. Although it is listed as online co-op on Steam, the developer said that Chernobylite 2 is intended to be a single-player experience first and foremost. The primary emphasis is on storytelling, meaningful choices and base building, which the developers felt didn't align well with a co-op format. They plan to incorporate co-op in two ways. Actively, by allowing players to invite friends to assist with specific tasks only, and passively, although they haven't disclosed the details yet. So this means you can play through the entire game together, only at certain spots. If this is something you're interested in, Chernobylite 2 might still be worth checking out. In this post-apocalyptic open-world RPG, you play as Cole Gray, which has the ability of plane walking, traveling through parallel worlds in search of the high-energy material called Chernobylite. It blends elements of non-linear storytelling, crafting, survival and base management, with combat based on a class system, with skill trees and a faction system. Your decisions have consequences and will impact the way others perceive you. Overall, the demo played solid, like a mix of Fallout, Stalker and maybe even Cyberpunk, with impactful weapons, scarce ammo and a dark fantasy world. So, which of these games are you most excited for? Are you ready to save Mio and Zoe in Split Fiction? To go for those bobbleheads in Fragpunk? Or win the nostalgic sword fights in Bleach Rebirth of Souls? Or maybe you're still busy with February's co-op highlights? But that's it for today. We wish you loads of fun in co-op with your favorite people and we hope to see you again next time.